Week one has arrived, and I'll tell you what you should and should not want to see come Sunday in Washington. And I'll do it here on Locked On Jaguars.
You are Locked On Jags, your daily Jacksonville Jaguars podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's going on, good people? Well, football is almost here. I'll tell you what, you're here with me, just like you are every day here, making us your first listen on Locked On Jaguars, and we are grateful. I am Tony Wiggins, the host of your daily Locked On Jaguars podcast, where it's your team every day, reminding you that we are free on all platforms wherever you get your podcasts. Like and subscribe to that YouTube page as well. Today's episode is brought to you by BetOnline. BetOnline has you covered for this season and more props and odds and lines than ever before. BetOnline.net, because it's where the game starts. Let's get right to it, man. We're going to do a preview of Sunday's game. I hope you enjoyed the crossover edition I had yesterday with David Harrison, describing how we felt the matchup was going to be between the Washington Commanders and the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now I'm going to talk to you from my perspective and my perspective alone, and just let you know the things that I think you need to look for and that you hope to see come this Sunday. I'm going to also tell you some things you hope you don't see. But then I'll give you a little bit of a pill to let you know that even if you see some things you don't like, the world isn't over. It's only week one. So we'll get into that, and I'll tell you about something new called Game to Game, something that'll give you all something to look forward to here in the Locked On Podcast Network. We'll do that in segment 3 as we recap and close out all of the things we discussed here today. But let's not bury the lead. What you want to see is you want to see growth from Trevor Lawrence on Sunday. That's one of the things that you want to see first and foremost. You want to see the leadership. You want to see growth. You want to see wide receivers who can actually get open and create passing lanes for your quarterback. That's the main thing that we want to see around here, because I can't tell you the last time that we were able to, or we saw really, really super competent quarterback play. And I'm not just talking about with stats like we had maybe with a guy like Gardner Minshew and then the 1 year with Blake Bortles. I'm talking about real good, steady, championship level. Oh, he can take us there. I hope you watch Josh Allen play in the opener. Oh, he can take us there type quarterback play. That's what I'm looking forward to, and that's the type of stuff that I'm talking about for the Jaguars. You hope that the impact of Doug Pederson has a profound effect on Trevor Lawrence, and there's a jump in his play from his rookie year, which we all have given him mulligans for. We all have said that we understand what happened because we know what happened. We know what went on. He was a rookie. He had come off of shoulder surgery. Thank you. I can get that out. And the other thing is he has a better coach, and he's been insulated, and he hasn't been having to go in front of the media and talk about things that weren't really addressing football and helping him get better as a player. We also hope to see the thing that we didn't get a chance to see last year, and that was a healthy James Robinson and a healthy Travis Etienne playing Batman and Robin, playing yin and yang, playing the guys that complement each other and sometimes even play together, but that gives the other team something that they have to guard and look forward to trying to cover, and it gives them a little bit of a different look, but it gives them a different look while they're being very, very productive. So we want to see both of those guys get back on the field and live up to their potential, the potential that we thought we would get a glimpse of last year when we did not. And I notice I'm going all offensive, right? And I'll do the defense in a little bit in segment 2. But now we'll get to the part of the team where, well, quite frankly, if you're talking about them, that would mean that they're not doing something right, and that's the offensive line. We don't want to talk about the offensive line. We don't want to notice anything, because when you don't notice anything, that means they're probably doing their job. But when your quarterback is running for his life, when there are constant holding penalties, what's the first thing that happens when you're watching a game on television when there's a holding penalty? They highlight it. The referee even says what number it was, and they take the camera and stick it right in that dude's face. That's what you don't want to see. So when you want to, what you want to see from the offensive line is nothing. That's what you want to see from the offensive line, because if you see nothing of the offensive line, that means they're doing their job. Playmakers. I want to see the guys outside. Like I said earlier, I want to see those guys get open and be able to keep drives going. There's nothing like being able to get to a third down situation and have the confidence that you're going to continuously convert third downs. The defense takes a sigh of relief. The coach takes a sigh of relief. The hope that you have of scoring some points just keeps moving and keeps going. I would prefer that it be Christian Kirk as well as Evan Ingram and Zay Jones from the outside that's responsible for that. But if it's Marvin Jones Jr. or Chris Manhertz or whoever, as long as it happens, that's fine. I just think a little icing on the cake would be to shut some of these narratives down that they pay too much money for all of those guys that I just mentioned. So, yeah, the continuity on offense, you want to see it crisp. You don't want to see penalties. You don't want to see drop balls. The thing that you do want to see is production, the ability to matriculate the ball down the field, as Hank Stram used to say, and score points. I want the Jaguars to do something they rarely did in the past. Take the ball on their first possession, control it, and go down and get some points. I don't care if it's 3 points, but get some points. I also want them to do the best that they can, and this is a goal for me. Get 17 in the first half. Get 17 in the first half. Get 10 to 13 in the second half. That way you end up with 27 to 30 points a game. I'd like them to get off to a quick start and control the football game. I think they'll be able to do it. I think they'll have a chance. Washington has some injuries. Chase Young's not playing. And they can get after the quarterback a little bit now, and they can also stop the run. So we'll have to make sure that, we watch and see if the team is motivated and if they have that crispness. And it's hard to get that coming out of preseason, because when you come out of preseason, guys didn't play. I think the Rams played yesterday, and I don't think that they really showed who they're going to be. I think it's a credit to Buffalo, but I also think it's a little bit of credit on both sides to the fact that the Rams weren't playing a bunch of people in the preseason, and teams just usually take a little bit of time to get greased up. But hopefully the Jaguars will be able to come out and play fast, get some points early, because if they get points early, it allows their defense, who we're going to discuss in just a second, to be able to do their thing and play the type of ball that I think they need to play in order to be super successful. So, yeah, we'll get to all of that stuff in just a second here on segment 2, and then tell you about Game to Game, which is something new here on the Locked On NFL Network. We'll get to that in segment 3. We'll do all of that in just a second here after I tell you guys about LinkedIn, especially if you are someone with a small business. It is very important that you please listen to this. If you have a small business and you want to make sure that you connect your business and put your business in the limelight enough that it intersects with all of the qualified applicants that may be looking for a job in that career field. You can do that at LinkedIn, man. So what you do is you create a free job post in minutes on LinkedIn Jobs to reach your network and beyond to the world's largest professional network of over 810 million people. That's 810 million people. Then add your job and the purple hashtag hiring frame to your LinkedIn profile to spread the word that you're hiring, so your network can help you find the right people. This is what the company my daughter works for. This was what they did to her. She put one word in, logistics, and it lined her up with so many people. And she had a job the day she got out of the United States Army. So this works, and I am a witness. All right, LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the candidates you want to talk to faster. Did you know that every week nearly 40 million job seekers visit LinkedIn? Post your job for free at linkedin.com/LockedOnNFL. That's linkedin.com/LockedOnNFL to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. We thank you for joining us once again here on Locked On Jaguars. I'm your host, Tony Wiggins, the daily host of Locked On Jaguars podcast. Here we're at your team every day, and we thank you for making us your first listen as always. And this is the first week of the NFL. And I know nobody's going to have to thank y'all for making the NFL your first watch, because I know you've been waiting for it for a long time. So what we're doing is we've given a little bit of preview. I discussed some of the things we want to see from the offense. Now I discuss some of the things we want to see from the defense. If you've heard any of my previous podcasts, one of the things that I spoke about is I think the Jaguars will be at their absolute best if they're playing with the lead, because I think that lines up and jives with their best lineup. Doesn't mean it's all their best players, because I think Devon Hamilton is one of their best players. And so I also like Folo Fatukazi. I have to make sure I say his name correctly. And I just don't think that, and I don't believe their roster structure makes you think that as a whole, their best package or their best and most explosive defensive package has those two guys on the field at the same time. I think they really like this situation where they have their sub package in, because it allows them to get the 3 DBs on the field. And it also allows for them to, when I say the 3 DBs, I mean the 3 corners, along with the 2 safeties. So that's 5 DBs. And I think it also allows for them to get some extra pass rush and get some stuff mixed in up front, so they can just pin their ears back and go after people. Well, if that's the case, that's why I want the Jaguars to get out to a very fast start, especially this week, because Carson Wentz, I believe, gets rattled by pressure. The other thing is it allows the Jaguars to get to this lineup that I believe is their most disruptive lineup in the way that the game is played now, their most disruptive lineup. And it's the one that could create turnovers and really allow the Jaguars to do a lot of exotic stuff and turn the tempo of the game into their favor. So what you want to see them do is do the thing that they have to do to get there, and that's stop on first down. They got to stop the run. And they also have to create negative plays on first down, penalties, or create a situation where there's a minimum game on first down, so it gets you in long down and distance situations on second down, and you can start mixing up stuff. We want to see them stop the run. We want to see something we haven't seen in a while here. We want to see linebackers spill and fill. That's right. We want to see guys triggering, get into their spots, filling those gaps, understanding, having gap integrity, understanding not overrunning plays, and making tackles. Wherever they make contact, that's where the ball carrier stops. That's going to be extremely important. Something that killed them in the preseason when they had their reserves in was their propensity to fall for these screens and give up chunk plays and chunk yards on screens. That has to be something that they control, and maybe with the starters in, they'll do a better job of that. There has to be something that they really control and really not allow to get out of hand, because if that starts happening, then you start playing on skates as a defense, and that doesn't bode well for anybody, especially a young team like Jacksonville. We want guys in the secondary to be physical, but also we want them to be present, and we also need them, when the ball is in the air, to turn into wide receivers and create opportunities for turnovers. No big plays, no busted plays, not letting anybody get behind you. Be around the ball. I'd rather you be around the ball and the play doesn't get made than you go for something and then all of a sudden a bigger play is made. Be sound and be fundamental in the things that you do. And then last but not least, the guys in the secondary, tackle well. Tackle, tackle, tackle. Watch out for the kicking game too. Washington might have an advantage when it comes to kicking. We'll see if the Jaguars, with their 29th kicker that they've had in camp this year, can figure out a way to make sure the kicking game doesn't bite them in the you-know-what. And also, man, just don't let the game get too big for you as a whole with all of these guys put together, offensive and defensive. I want the Jaguars to have some amnesia. And what I mean by that, just because you have on teal and black, you are not the same teams that have been playing here in the past. You're different. You know why you're different? Because you're different. You're not the same people. Play like you're not the same people. Play like you don't have a hangover. Don't play like you have something to prove. You know, don't play like you're the guy who lost weight and you're eager to take your shirt off at the cookout and you ain't quite ready. You still got some stuff going on but you think you're fine. Just don't be the team that has to feel like you have to prove anything. You know what I'm saying? Don't be the team that, I don't mind you having a chip on your shoulder, but don't let the chip on your shoulder affect the way that you play to the point where you get outside of yourself and start committing dumb penalties, or you start tightening up, or, you get the feeling that somebody's sitting on your shoulder yelling in your ear, y'all the same Jaguars, y'all ain't no better, and it starts messing with your football self-esteem. Don't get rattled when things go wrong. You're going to have resistance, and you're going to have things that happen in the game. You're going to have adversity. The Jaguars just have to figure out that they need to be more of the adversity than they're paying attention to. So those are some of the things that I don't want to see. I don't want to see the kicking game get become too big of a part of the game because they're making mistakes. I don't want to see offensive linemen's faces all over the screen, because that means that every time they zoom in on you, you did something wrong. I don't want Trevor to play with too much pressure, and I don't want him to press. I just want them to be confident in the things that they've done to get to this point in their preparation. And now it's just time to go out Sunday and have demonstrated performance. More importantly, I don't want them to come back with a loss, because I don't want the fans to all of a sudden think after 1 week that it's the same old Jaguars. Now, here's my message to you. That's not the case. It's the first week, man. It's 1 week, 1 weekend. The two teams that played in the Super Bowl last year got mollywopped last year in week 1. Okay? So it just happens. It's 1 week. But now on the flip side, if something good happens, I want y'all to go and do cartwheels in your subdivision and in your cul-de-sac, because we're going to take that. We're going to take that W, and then we're going to act like, we're going to party like it's 1999. We're going to act like we just hit the lotto or the Powerball, because it's just a feeling that we haven't had here in a long time. I want to get to some final things here, wrap up, and then tell you about something new here called Game to Game that I want you to check out on Locked On Jaguars. And I'll do that in just a second after I tell you guys about BetOnline.net, which is your number one source for all your pro and college football betting needs and sports info this season. Find all the latest football league developments, game matchups, news, and podcasts, including this year's opening week's games. BetOnline is also your continued source for all your sporting wagering information, including live betting, esports, and scores. Now, me personally, I did not do this well last night because I took the Rams and the points, and I lost. So there you go. The fastest and easiest way to check in on all of your favorite sports and events, including Major League Baseball, MMA, boxing, which might have a big fight coming up soon, and golf. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to learn more about the trends and the action, because BetOnline is where the game starts. You all start here with me every single Monday through Friday, because this is your podcast, because it's your team every day here on Locked On Jaguars. And y'all make me your first listen, and I am very, very grateful. And I'm also feeling the love on YouTube, so I appreciate all of the extra support on YouTube. Game to Game. Y'all want to know what Game to Game is? Game to Game is something new from the Locked On Podcast Network here on Locked On NFL, where they take the 5 biggest games of the week. They take the 425 national game, the Sunday night football game, the Monday night football game, and then 2 other key matchups from all of our local experts here on the Locked On Podcast Network. It's put together in one beautiful packaged show, and it's going to be released on Locked On NFL every Friday. So the Locked On NFL podcast, wherever you get your podcast, and then on the Locked On NFL page on YouTube. The same one that y'all see me on with James Rapine when I whoop James Rapine every Wednesday. That's the same the same place, the same platform. And it's on the Locked On NFL show. And, it'll be released on those places on Friday evening or Saturday morning. Make sure you support it, man. You get to meet some of the personalities that cover the team. Occasionally, if the Jaguars play well enough and become a team that plays on a big game, you'll see me on there talking about the Jaguars and their next opponent. And whoever the next opponent is, you'll see them on there as well. So let's get to being in big games, so you'll get a chance to see your boy Wig do a little bit more work here on the Locked On Podcast Network. But if you don't want to just see me, you want to look at those games and hear. Now, look, this is how you tie it in with BetOnline. You want to hear what the local expert has to say. When the local expert gives you the lowdown and information, that should help you a little bit with BetOnline, along with all of the information that they give you. So it's just something new and something fun. I want to make sure you guys understand where you can find it. And we're continuing to be trendsetters here with the Locked On Podcast Network and Locked On NFL, giving you more and more information. So let's recap real quick a little bit, things that you want to see and things that you don't want to see and what to watch out for. Watch out for the interaction between Doug Pederson and Trevor Lawrence. And I want you to see, like, if there's a mistake, I want you to see the difference in how he interacts. We also haven't really seen Doug light up into anybody yet. So if there are mistakes or if there's correction being made, I want you to watch how Doug Pederson, I hope I didn't say Doug Marrone, but Doug Pederson deals with his players and deals with his adversity. If the Jaguars do get some adversity, how do they handle it? Because in the past, they haven't handled it well, because if they had, that's all they had is adversity. They never overcame any of it, and they didn't win very much. See if you start to see that growth, the growth to where, just like we talked about earlier in the week, I said on 1st and 20, we just used to concede that they're just going to punt. That's it. You get a holding penalty on first down over the last few years, we knew it wasn't going to go anywhere. We might as well just punt it right now. And I was right most of the time. However, once a team starts improving like the Jaguars have, you saw in the preseason where, look, we ain't out of this thing. I don't care if it's 3rd and 19, we can make it because of the quarterback, right? So if that's the case, I want you to start watching them from a team perspective and tell me if you notice a difference, like when things start going bad, are they able to hit that switch and turn it back around? Are they able to hit that switch and turn it back around and get things going back positive? Because if they can do that, that's the sign that this team has taken to their leadership and taken to their coaching. And the body language and all of those things, everything means something. So I want you to watch with a close and watchful eye the body language of the team when things go bad, how they handle success when things go good, whether or not you start to see some fluidity and continuity to the game plan, because we haven't seen that either. Because remember, Marrone used to throw stuff at the wall until it stuck, right? And do they coach with confidence, offensively and defensively? Are they chasing the quarterback? Are they getting after it? Do they start having this look on their face, the ones that we've seen? It always felt like here, and you guys know this, it always really felt like, and we all know it, I ain't going to say you guys, it's us. It always felt like everybody wanted to do well, but they didn't know how to do well. And they were trying and hoping that things went better. Let's see if hope turns into expectation, right? Watch and see if hope turns into expectation. Now, week 1 won't tell you everything, good or bad. If they play well, they still have to come back to practice and prepare and put their pants on and go back out there and do it again next week. But if it's not good, I know it's going to feel bad, especially if it's real bad. But it's not. It's a work in progress. And that just shows you that there's a lot of guys around the NFL, a lot of big-time players. Damn near everybody who ever played at Alabama, you're going to see them in the front 7 in Washington. So, yeah, they pick good players from the SEC too. You know, we just got to watch it. And something fun to do, I think I mentioned this yesterday, watch our young players versus their young guys. They got some guys that's under 26, 25, 23, 24, 25. There are names that you know from watching SEC football on Saturday. And we got them too. Our 2 best players on defense in the front 7 are guys from the SEC. And our best corner is from the SEC. Let's see how these young guys, the ones that we have followed from high school recruiting to college that we know very well, let's see who's getting the upper hand between those young players between Washington and Jacksonville. I want you guys to make sure that you tune in on this weekend. If we have a really, really good day, I'm going to do a special pod Sunday to let you know. If it's a bad day, I'm going to do a special pod Sunday. But more or less, I'll just do what we call a recap, a Locked On Now recap. That'll be Sunday afternoon to give you my instant reaction from the game. And then we'll hit you with a pod early Monday that you can find on all the platforms and YouTube as well. Until then, do what I always say. Please take care of each other and enjoy the football this weekend. If you're traveling to Washington, I'll give you traveling grace that you travel well and be safe. And eat some chicken wings with mumbo sauce while you're up there in D.C. for me. And if you're not, enjoy the game with your family or your local establishment, your local business here in Jacksonville, wherever you decide to watch the game with family and friends. But whatever you do, man, put the teal and black on and be happy that football is finally here. And now we can just talk about what we see instead of what we think is going to happen. And I'll do that starting Monday, Sunday night with a recap, and then Monday with our daily podcast, because it's your team every day. And we thank you for making us your first listen. Until then, take care.